All right. As I have to unmute the conference room. Now I got the big eye on me. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, good, thanks. Dean, I'm very happy to see you here. Unfortunately, at this moment, it's
Good
only
evening.
myself and one other member. We do not yet have a quorum. Yes,
But I start my campaign early. Anyway, is he coming today?
I think he'll be joining remotely. We got
Just me. How are you? Good to see you.
good to see you. Grab a seat.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I've been out of touch. I've been,
that's all right.
it's been busy and I'm recovering from surgery too. So that was part of 3 weeks. So but I'm good.
Good. Glad to hear you're recovered.
Yeah. I had leg surgery. So nothing after my frontal lobotomy, I had leg surgery too. So
I thought you had leg surgery last time. You sure it wasn't in front of the bottom? You just said. Yeah, you had a knee replacement.
I had 2 knees replaced and
So you did one like a year or two ago.
yeah, another one, yeah, but this was different. This is
This is different.
preventing a deep vein thrombosis. So anyway, here I am. Hi.
Hi,
You know this guy, I know, you invited him.
Carl, yes.
Carl.
I'm not sure, I'm here.
Yeah, you know,
We're glad to have you here. Is anyone else coming besides the 2 of us, 3 of us?
I'm not sure. Keith is online. So currently we do not, Ashley is in the waiting room. Okay, so we're
Okay.
about to have a quorum. So Carl, I would say please have a seat.
Yeah, okay,
Sure. I don't know if we're gonna get anyone else in the room tonight.
that's fine.
I'm gonna extend my gratitude to Jeff here for the company.
I found out, I've been offline. 20 minutes ago, I said, oh, it's hybrid. I just got in my car.
Beautiful.
Yeah, why not?
And we have
Oh, my God.
Steve Bresta.
Steve.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay. Good.
Evening.
We
Evening.
have time.
Different chair here, you want to sit on it?
I brought up early campaigning.
Oh, you remembered my son. Yeah, right?
I thought I'd start early. And I figured it's gonna be hard. for me.
Life is a candy. Life is a
Yeah,
candy.
You know, Carl?
We met, we were
Yeah.
sitting with last election, I came up and I said, hi, Chris, and she's like, it was Carl. I said, hi,
Right.
Carl.
Oh,
Yep, correct.
I thought I remember meeting you.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
You wanna put it this way? I don't know how to.
Oh, you just put it in the associated
Oh.
position. Oh, sorry, guys.
Okay, is that, I think that's enough room for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. Okay, get any more in here, we can adjust as needed. Okay, everyone, thanks for bearing with us while we figure out our seating arrangements. The time is 7:02. I'll call this meeting of the Shutesbury Planning Board to order. The meeting is being held in a hybrid posture at Town Hall and on Zoom and is being recorded. Now, present for the planning board, we have Ashley Pycroft and Keith Hasty attending remotely via Zoom. And in the room, we have Steve Bressler, Tom Seifert, and
Jeff Weston.
Jeff Weston. Thank you.
It's okay.
It's been a long day.
Is Keith not on camera? Is that the case?
Yeah, Keith is not on camera.
I get it.
So I can see him in the participants
We
list.
can,
You
okay.
know, what I can do. I don't know if this
I didn't know if it
No.
showed that option. Full gallery.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure out, some of this stuff at another time, but I think,
We'll know if you speak.
so I'm gonna,
Michael's not there, is that right?
yeah,
He's in Canada, I think.
I'm not sure.
Okay, he's a what?
Yeah.
He said he was gonna try and call.
Michael is going to be joining shortly.
Oh, Mateo's.
Yes, and Mateo, our clerk Mateo, Pangalo is online as well. I got the meeting started for us. All right, so the first thing on the is organization of the board. Now that we've entered into a new fiscal year, it is time for an election of the board's chair. Now, let's see, I believe I've just completed my third year serving as chair. And now that it's come round again, I'm gonna do the same thing I always do, which is to say that if anybody else is interested in serving as chair of the board, of the planning board, that now is the time to express your interest. Not hearing anyone express any interest, all right.
Let me eat a banana.
A situation where you ask if anybody, the chair, everyone else steps back, and you're the one standing in front.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Yeah.
This is like that scene from the movie where
Yeah,
they ask for volunteers and everyone else steps back.
that's it.
Hello, Michael, can you hear us?
I can. Which Michael?
Michael, okay. I saw the name Michael and I thought you were Michael Take Care, but this is Michael Schaefer. He is
Yep.
present with the planning board tonight. Michael, we did get a little bit of a late start as members trickled in right now. We've just opened the meeting and we're currently on organization of the board. And right now.
Roger that. I'll stand by.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for your patience. Would anybody, a motion would be in good order that would nominate somebody to serve as chair of the board for the next year.
I would like to nominate Nathan to be the board of the planning board of Shutesbury.
Second fair.
All right, Jeff has moved and Steve has seconded that I serve another term as chair of the planning board. So is there any discussion? Any last minute thoughts of wanting to jump in?
You've done a great job.
I am here. Hey, Nathan.
Michael, you are here.
Yeah, I know we're about to vote for you, but can you guys send me the meeting link to my
Yeah.
email?
Yes.
That would be great.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
sent it. I just sent it, Michael.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Let's see if I can get in.
Yeah, I guess if there's any administrative tasks, I might try and rely on either Mateo or Ashley. Since you guys are at home and are a little bit more able to kind of do that kind of thing. Now, yeah, so yeah, you had it right, Michael. We're just about to vote. There's a motion on the floor to nominate me as a chair for the next year. Did you want to be chair, Michael?
No, I don't. I want to thank you for agreeing to it.
All right. Okay, well, that being the case, I guess I'll call the roll. Wrestler,
Yes, aye.
okay, Daycare,
Aye.
who's next?
Wesley?
Hastings,
Aye.
okay, Pycroft,
Aye.
Seaford,
Aye.
Weston.
Aye.
Okay, we have, I will abstain. We have 6 votes in the affirmative. The motion carries. Now, I also have noted on this agenda item that we'll see if the board.
Should be good now. He signed out from the other
Yeah,
one.
I'm here. Sorry.
I muted us. I thought I saw Steve with his laptop and I thought that it was coming from the room, but it was the. Okay, now, all right, so we've elected chair. Now we'll see if we would like to elect a vice chair. And before we get into anything, I'll just kind of explain, I think, that what a vice chair would be. Let's just cut to the chase. It would be what Michael does now, right? You know, when there's either something I don't participate in on account of the code of conduct I have with my employer, or if I have an absence, I'm not able to make a meeting, or what have you. You know, currently, you know, more often than not, 100% of the time so far, Michael's acted as chair in those situations. So this would more or less just make that a seamless process and kind of solidify that. I would say that, you know, it's at the board's discretion to do this. So for example, if, say for example, I don't pull papers next year and I come off the planning board roster. And then you have to decide who's chair. It might be Michael who's elected as chair and there might not be anyone that is elected as co-chair in that scenario. Or maybe there will be, I don't know, but you know, I don't think that taking this action would make an obligation to have a chair and a vice chair. But it's just kind of opening the door. So, now, first, I'll just say I'll ask, is there anyone on the planning board that is, has questions or more importantly, has a reservation about electing a vice chair?
I don't have a reservation. I had a quick question.
Go ahead.
Was there a prompt or was there historically one or? I was just curious
Well,
why now?
I can answer
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I had told Nathan that I was interested in doing it. And mostly for the reasons that he said, you know, I've stepped in. Sometimes, you know, it's sort of a last minute thing. It just seems like to make it more official. And I'm sort of, you know, I tend to take on that responsibility and it's fine. And I think in the last year, my antenna have been up. So I think Leverett has a vice chair. There's been other times where people have said they've had vice chairs. So it seemed just to formalize it, it would be neater. I would agree that, you know, year to year, we could decide if we wanted one or not. But at least for this year, I'd be interested in doing it. And I think just having that role would be helpful.
Well, with that said, I would like to nominate Michael Daycare to serve as vice chair of the planning board.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion made, seconded to elect Michael as vice chair of the planning board. Now, at this time, is there anyone who would like to have a further discussion on this? Okay, I will call the roll. Bradford.
Aye.
Seifert.
Aye.
Weston.
Aye.
Pycroft.
Aye.
Hasty.
Aye.
Daycare.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries unanimous. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you all. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael, for all you do. It's official now.
Yeah, glad to help.
We are all saying. Phew.
Well, you know, I'll say that there's about a 50-50 chance that I'll pull papers and again on the planning board. Not sure, want to do it again. I might decide to just step out of public life for a while. I might decide to pursue other volunteer opportunities with the municipality. I might decide to stay on. That's a clear possibility, but I'm just going to put it out there that there's a chance I'm not going to be here next go around. So you can think about that as the year progresses. Okay, I'm not.
Nathan, I'll just put out, I don't think Eric Stocker's running next year.
Right. Because that would make my life less stressful to go into Eric Stocker's shoes. Okay, well, thank you everyone for a vote of confidence and thank you, Michael, for, you know, everything you've been doing and now continue to do with the formal title of vice chair. And we'll move on to our next agenda item, which will be public comment. Is anyone here that would like to make public comment? All right, hearing and seeing none, we'll move on. Landowner education and guidance. Is there anyone that's here for landowner?
Nathan, Mary
education?
Lou had her hand up.
Thanks for letting me know. You know, that's okay, Mary Lou Conca has her hand up. Mary Lou, if you would like to address the board for either public comment or landowner education and guidance, you're welcome to do so.
Hi, I'm making a general public comment, if I may. I saw on your agenda that you're going to talk about the Lake Wyola committee. And I don't know if you all are going to be the ones who assign people, but just to put it out there, I'm interested in becoming a community member of that group. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up, Mary Lou. Now, in order to become a community member, what you'll need to do is get one of the, there's a form that has been recently created by the administration here at Town Hall. I would imagine it's online. I don't know for sure. I do know that I just saw a big pile of them up in the mailbox in Town Hall. So you would fill that out and then submit it to the select board. The select board is the appointing authority. The planning board gets a seat on the committee. They, we still don't make the appointment, but we by default get to select somebody, and then we, the select board makes the formal appointment. We tell them who we want to put there. Now, does that should be good.
Thank you. Yes, I didn't know any of that, so thank you.
I'm happy to provide the information. Very good. Okay. Last call on public comment or landowner education and guidance. Okay, I'm seeing none. Next on the agenda is the Plaza and for 314 Wendell Road and 382 Wendell Road. We've received a new plan. We've received a new Form A. So I know Michael Schaefer is also on the call. And just, I'm going to catch everybody up a little bit on what's going on. After the last meeting, I reached out to Donna McNichol, Town Council, and she suggested that we get one Form A had the Shutesbury, it was signed by the president of the Shutesbury Athletic Club, but it listed James Plaza as the applicant. And Donna said that the Shutesbury Athletic Club should be the applicant, right? And I looked into this more. There's basically in our regulations and in statute, subdivision control act, the applicant is essentially the owner of the land, or there are signs, right? Now, if you look in the, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can share.
If you want to make it possible for me to do it, oh no, you got it.
Oh, yeah, I can. So this is under the Shutesbury subdivision regulations. And we're looking at, the definitions in section 81L, chapter 41 of the general law shall apply unless the contrary intention clearly appears. In addition, the following words shall have the following meanings. Right, we have applicant, developer, subdivider. So this kind of talks about, this must be the owners or their assigns. And additionally, the section down here on plan believed not required for approval notes the application Form A appended, signed by the applicant and providing all information requested. So that was that thing. It's also the same as in the definition of the subdivision control act. Further, we had a lot of questions about setbacks with sheds. looking at, there's a document put out, which I don't have readily available, but it's, from the Mass Planners Association, I believe, or the training cooperative. And also when you read the statute, the whole thing is basically based on frontage. So any lot that's not a building lot needs to be labeled as such, and otherwise every lot needs to have frontage on a road. So that was another consideration, right? Now, so here we go. Since then, we've received a new plan. And we've received an additional form.
I connect to this.
Bring some of this stuff up. Okay, so now we have, this is the first form we received from James Plaza, signed by Plazas. Here. This is the more recent form we've got. And a list the applicant is Mark, President. And the owners as it's signed by Mark, and the it notes President Shrewsbury Athletic Club Incorporated, 282 Wendell Road. So it doesn't say the Shrewsbury Athletic Club is the applicant, but at least it's it doesn't say the Plazas. We can talk about that more. And we've got this revised plan here. Can everyone see this? Okay. So the difference here is that they didn't make another additional lot over here. They've only got this lot A, which comes off the land owned by the Shrewsbury Athletic Club. And they created a new lot 1 over here. This was on the prior plan. So this has 250 feet on the road, and this is the existing lot, which has looks like it has over 300 feet of frontage here. So does anyone have any questions at this point, or anything like that?
What is each Form A applying to do?
Well, it's trying to do an A&R. But Tom,
Which A&R is each Form A applying to do? That's what I'm confused about.
well, Tom, I was actually wondering if you wanted to recuse yourself.
Why?
Well, see, there's a section in the state conflict of interest statute that says municipal employee participating in a matter where they have a knowing interest.
Isn't it financial interest?
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have financial interest in this matter.
There's one of the applicants on these Form As currently engaged in a appeal of a lawsuit that awarded you a sum of money.
Yes.
Just putting it out there.
I don't know. If you could spell out the nature of the conflict, that would help. Maybe we should get some advice, because I didn't believe that this would be a financial interest conflict.
Yeah, Nathan, can I jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a conflict of interest would result if the A&R transactions benefited Tom. And I don't think there's any financial benefit in any of those transactions. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's not other relationships outside of this transaction. So it doesn't seem like there's a conflict. There might be situations between Tom and the applicant, but whether or not this A&R, I mean, one, we basically have to approve it, but regardless of that fact, if the A&R goes through, there's no financial benefit or detraction to Tom personally. So I don't think there's a conflict because it's focused on this transaction and the decision making in that regard.
All right. Just putting it out there.
Well, are you asking me not to?
No, I don't have the authority to force you to recuse yourself on an issue. That would be on you to do it if you thought that you had a conflict.
Well, I would be curious if you could spell out the nature of your conflict because I don't want to misunderstand.
Well, so as I understand it, that you were awarded a sum of money based on a lawsuit between you and one of the parties in the forum, the Shutesbury Athletic Club, and that they have appealed in court.
That's false.
That's false?
The court is the false part.
Oh, okay.
It's a commission.
Hmm?
It's a commission. It's not in court.
Oh, okay. Well, they've appealed to a commission,
Yes.
a ruling from a commission.
Right. But apparently you may not know all the facts. So
Well,
go on, please. I'd like to know.
No, I mean,
Wait.
so perhaps I misspoke about the nature of the appeal. The appeal would be with a commission. So the appeal could affect a sum of money awarded to you by the commission
I
or by a
believe.
court or whatever, so that's,
And how does this A&R relate to that?
well, one of the parties in the lawsuit or whatever you want to call it is on one of these forms.
Right, but how does it relate as a financial conflict of interest? I'm not understanding it.
Hmm.
It could be conversely interpreted as you might be trying to get me to recuse myself by force, which could be a retaliation act against my having participated in the commission's hearing,
Well,
which I have a legal right to be able to do and not be retaliated against for. Do we?
so,
It might be that you're suggesting that because I participated in a commission activity, I should be retaliated against and not be allowed to do some of my civic duties as a planning board member. I really don't understand where the financial conflict is, and I would like you to explain it.
Yeah.
Or how is it not retaliation, what you're
all right,
suggesting?
Tom, if you don't think there's a financial conflict of interest for you to participate in this matter, then by all means, continue. Now, we're going to move on.
I would like my question answered.
I'm not going to answer your question, Tom.
My question
My
was,
question to you was
which
whether or not,
Form A applies to which A&R? Because it appears as though each Form A would have
That
an
question.
A&R.
I'll answer that.
Thank you.
It's more, one form is, there are two sets of owners that are shown on this plan, on the land on this plan. And one owner is the Shutesbury Athletic Club with Lot A, and the other owner is the Plazas with Lot 1 and, which is a new building lot they're creating.
How is it that two Form As are on one A&R?
Well, there's two Form As because there's two owners.
But I don't understand an A&R to be able to be submitted by two owners for two pieces of land. I thought it would be one Form A, one A&R. Like, aren't there two actions being taken here?
Would you like me to
I-
get that?
I'm sort of wondering the same thing. So when we left off last time, it was the setbacks were a little bit too close or not sufficient enough, and so the plazas were going to change things. But if they are not the owners of a parcel, I don't think they can do that. It seems like if the AC is going to change, agree to do setbacks, that's one Form A for one change of an A&R, and the plazas would be doing changes on the parcels that they own. So, I mean, I guess I'm sort of re-asking Tom's question. Is the parcel near the AC owned by the AC, and then they're the applicant and they're speaking to their A&R, and then the other parcels are owned by the plazas and they're making those, so it'd be one for each?
Well,
I'm just confused, is all.
yeah.
Is there anybody on the line?
What's that?
Is there anybody on the line like either plazas? Shutesbury, Seco.
The, let's see, Mike Schaefer's on the line.
Yes, good evening, board members. Thanks. Let me just explain. So basically, when we first submitted an A&R, we submitted two applications because there were two owners for the parcels. And rather than doing multiple plans, there's no concern. I mean, this is pretty common where you can have multiple divisions of land using multiple Form A's, and that's all we did. Basically, the first application that we had the same. I don't know if you want me to let me show me. If you want me to, can I share my screen?
Sure. Mateo, are you able to grant him the ability to share the screen?
Yep, I just did.
Excuse me, Nathan, who is
Bear
speaking?
with me 1 second. Yep, I'm all set. I just gotta wait for the stuff to vanish. Oh, there we go. Okay, so basically we revised this plan, and originally we had a total of 3 new lots, or excuse me, 2 new lots, plus a lot A and a lot B. The lot B now is no longer relevant. That had to do with the Killebrews, and the plazas and the Killebrews discussed it, and it turned out that the shed that they had is really up here. The one that was originally there was just basically it's collapsed. It's not even being used. So that lot B went away. In that particular case, we also had 2 applications because under both scenarios, the lots that we had originally had over here were all part of the plazas, and the lot A was land that was part of the Shutesbury Club. And we had submitted basically 2 applications. Both of the applications were by the plazas because the plazas were the ones requesting it, but the landowner at this particular case was the Shutesbury Club, and Mark ended up signing that one. After talking with Nathan, your particular planning regulations, I guess, required that Mark be the one to be the applicant, even though he's not really the one seeking, so to speak, the division of land. If you recall, this land all used to belong to the plazas at one point, and the plazas donated it to the club so that the club could be, have the land, if you will. But in any way, so regardless, you have 2 applications in front of you. At this point, you still have the plazas that we had given to you previously, and then we gave you a revised one that was the same one that we had prior, but just listed the Shutesbury Club as the applicant versus the plazas. It's really half done as another. It's basically doing the same thing. So all we're doing today is just trying to finalize the transaction for the lot A over here, with the one application that is now has the Shutesbury Athletic Club as the applicant, still signed by Mark as was the previous one, and now the Plaza's application, which is only breaking off lot A. Excuse me, lot 1, pardon me. So that's really it. There's no concerns about multiple lots being divisioned or multiple applicants. It's all one and the same, quite frankly. You still have the old or you still have the old Form A as well, but you don't need, you're not using that one anymore at this point. And relative to, I think, is your name Tom? I think so, right? Sorry if I
Yes.
get the name right. We have no problem you voting. We
Who
just
are
want to
we?
move along and get it done.
Are you the applicant
I am the engineer.
representing the applicant?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And you had no problem with it?
Of you voting?
And I said, and you had no problem with it?
With
Is that what you said?
With what in particular you asking me?
I thought you just said that you had no problem with what you thought I had a problem with. I was just curious.
No,
Whether-
of you voting, I guess there was some discussion about you not voting. So,
Oh,
we
I'm
just
not.
wanna, everybody
That's for
can
you
vote.
to- that was
Anybody
the
who's eligible
chair's.
can vote as far as we're concerned.
That was a concern of the chair. That's not a concern of mine, sir.
Oh. Well, whatever.
Okay. So if I can jump in, since I was just
second,
confused,
Michael.
it seems like, oh,
Michael,
sorry,
one sec,
sorry.
one sec.
Mhm.
Mateo,
Yep.
you had a conversation with Donna, on this. She had a call with you at one point. I wasn't able to make the call. I was just, back to the question of, the two forms and the one plan. I was under the impression that Donna kind of said that wasn't a problem. I don't have that in writing. I think you summarized your conversation in email, and I'm having trouble finding it at the moment. So was that, do you recall that?
Yeah, that's correct. That, the issue was not that there were, not about whether there were two forms. It was about who signed Form A, and having the lot line changes represented on one plan was perfectly acceptable. She advised having it noted in the note section on the plan, but
Right.
her real concern was about who was signing and submitting the Form As.
Okay. Who's signing it and, who the applicant was?
That's right.
So, Michael, what was your question?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a question. It seemed like it was clear, and I don't want to hold this up because it seems like it's, technically straightforward or substantively straightforward. I think just if we're going to vote, there's, from what Mateo just said, there's one Form A that's addressing two transactions. But what Michael, the engineer, said was that there were two Form As with two transactions. So I just want to know what we're voting on, I guess, at this point.
No, there
Okay.
are two separate Form As.
Okay.
There's one.
So there's
there's
a
one
for-
from the plaza, and there's one from the athletic club. There's two separate Form
Okay.
As. The changes that are being represented by those Form As are on one plan, which is acceptable. As long
Oh,
as they're
okay. Got it. So we would, well, I'll leave it to you, Nathan, if we have one vote or two, but that makes sense to me. I'm clear now. Thanks.
It'll be one vote, but just so everyone can see, this is one Form A.
Can I approach the screen with the map projected or the diagram just to ask about where some lines are?
Yeah. This is the other Form A. Right, got the name of the applicant is the, Mark Linsky, president, address, Tewksbury Athletic Club, 282 Window Road. And then this is the plan. So go ahead,
Thank you.
Tom.
Actually, a separate question was, does this property need to be surveyed, and was it surveyed? That would be, I don't know what this is referred to as.
You don't know what that's referred to
Well,
as?
the question is, does this property need to be surveyed?
It's not a survey. The surveyor has presented us with a plan that's certified with a survey.
Well, he presented a plan from the plazas, and I didn't know if the plazas included what wasn't theirs in their survey, so I just wanted to know what's their survey.
That entire corner was surveyed.
All the way down to the corner of the streets meeting.
That's correct.
Thank you. I couldn't
We
see
would
it
have,
down
we
there.
would have, we have to do that.
Thank you.
That's a requirement.
So my question is about, for the Form A pertaining to this owner, are they drawing this line?
Are they?
Are they adding this line such that they're separating lot A from their property?
Well, that's what this plan does. Yeah.
Is that how- so is the original this?
Yeah.
And then they added this line,
That's right.
is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, and then this was the original line, and they added here to make lot one, is that correct? Or those two boundaries? And those are the three lines that have been added, is that correct? Thank you, okay.
Anyone else have any questions? So if we vote to endorse this, then I can sign the plans for a majority of the board and arrange for them to be handed off to the applicant.
Have we received all the payment?
Yes,
Do you know how much the payment was?
there's different amounts of the payment, but it's square.
The 140? Or with the clerk?
I think on this one, this creates one additional lot, so it'd be 70. You could,
I thought it's the number of lots on the plan, 70 per lot. Did we get a payment and how much did we get?
we did get a payment and
You're checking the information you sent us.
There was a fee payment of $140
Right.
cool.
for the two lots, $70 per lot.
And that was calculated based on the original submission, which created 2 additional building lots. Which is our, sorry, I'm all with this. I see, Mary Lou, you have your hand up. Are you trying to
Uh,
say at this point on this A&R here?
Hi, is that Nathan talking?
Yeah, you just have your hand up still. If you would, lower your hand, please.
I have a question as a general audience resident person. What are the plans for? Are you all gonna give permission for 2 different landowners to build? Is that your discussion? Cause I don't.
Mary Lou, this is an A&R, it's approval not required, and it's just for the planning board to determine whether or not the plan presented to us shows a subdivision. That's all it is.
I don't understand you, Nathan, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mary Lou, but we need to move on in our agenda. We're not gonna have time to explain the details of this, for members of the public who don't understand, but if you want to, you can reach out to me and I'll send you a note, Mary Lou,
It's
explaining.
actually your voice that's a little mumbled, but thank you.
Sure.
Nathan, you want a motion?
Yeah, sure, that'd be good.
Okay, and we're doing one vote, right?
Yeah, that's.
So- So I would, and we're not proving, we're endorsing this, I think is the action we're taking. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I would move that the planning board endorse the plan to create 2 lots that are Lot 1 and Lot A shown on the plan provided to the planning board for the 2 applicants. Mark Ozeski for Shutesbury Athletic Club and the plazas. And is that sufficient? Does that work? I can give the parcel numbers if we need to, but parcel 111 and parcel 55, those the 2?
I think that should probably do it, right? Yeah. Where do you
Well,
put
second.
that should do it. And Tom has seconded, okay? So we have a motion and a second to endorse this plan before us. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call the roll. Bressler,
Aye.
Teixeira,
Aye.
Hasty,
Aye.
Pycroft,
Aye.
Seifert.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, Mr. Schaefer, I will, endorse these plans on behalf of the board, and, we can figure out a way to convey the signed, plans to you and, or your client.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening. We'll definitely stop by the office at some point, see Mateo, and pick up the plan when it's ready.
Beautiful.
All right, thank you very much, Planning Board, for your diligence.
Sure thing.
You.
Good. You do it. Okay. Now, next we have considered to decide planning board representative on the Community Preservation Committee. On the consideration is Tom Seifert. I'd like to just go right to a motion. Anything we need to talk about can be in discussion.
I'll move to nominate Tom Seifert for CPC representative for the planning board.
Hey, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. Any discussion? If the vote carries, I'll
Well-
contact the select board.
This is not a discussion, just as a point. Last time we had Cliff Reed is now representing the recreational slot. That, so
That's, thank you, I forgot, yeah. I know it's in between meetings, but it seems like a distant past at this point. Right, yeah, so that's, all right, anything else? Any other discussion? Call the roll, Bressler?
Aye.
Hasty,
Aye.
Pycroft,
Aye.
Kira,
aye.
Seifert,
Aye.
Weston.
Aye.
And, I'm an aye, motion carries unanimously. The,
Hey, Nathan, can I just say one thing?
yeah,
So just for next month, I think we might want to have on the agenda for LWAC. If it gets created, maybe it'll be the next month, but the select board is discussing the new configuration of the Lake Boyola Advisory Commission. And the planning board will most likely continue to have a representative. So whether it's next month or the month after that, we might be picking another representative. So just an FYI.
And the Michael.
yeah, I saw that it was, yeah, I thought it would behoove us to, be able to vote now on it because,
Yeah, we should wait. We should definitely wait.
you think so?
Well, the select board hasn't come out with a new charge.
Well, they haven't come out with the chart.
So,
Michael, the Concom and the Board
No,
of Health, but it to recommend their
Well,
reps.
been to that, I know you and I were both at the last select board meeting, but until they finalize the charge, it seems premature. The presumption will be that the planning board is there because no one said otherwise. So I guess it's up to Nathan. You can figure out if we want to do it next time, put it on the agenda, or wait till the select board finalizes the charge. But it's on the horizon, whatever. Next month and the month after.
Well, I mean, I would entertain a motion to move forward with the, recommendation to the select board, and if it carries, it carries, if it doesn't, it doesn't. If,
Oh,
no one's
okay.
gonna make it at this point, I'm not hearing it, no one's made the motion.
Okay, that's cool. I just wanted to point it out. I'll make the motion to have Tom be
I
the,
mean, I'm not gonna twist your arm to make it, I don't know if you don't wanna make it.
No,
then it's not.
no, I'm happy to do it. I mean, I don't think, unless anyone else wants to do it, I think I'd move to have Tom Seifert be the Lake Boyola Advisory Committee Planning Board representative.
All right, do I hear a second? All right, Michael moves, Steve seconds to recommend Tom Seifert to serve as a planning board rep on the new, Lake Oil Advisory Committee, pending the release of the final judge, more or less. Any discussion? I'll send an email to the, select board, and if they, want us to vote again, and we'll vote again. If not, then it'll be a done deal. Okay, I'll call the roll. Dick Hara,
Aye.
Pycroft,
Aye.
Casey,
Aye.
Pressler,
Aye.
Seifert.
Aye.
Weston,
Hi,
and I'm an aye. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bertha, motion carries unanimously. All right, now, thank you, Carl and Dean, for being so patient. I'm happy to say that we have two candidates for associate member. Now, I think we'll start with Carl, because he got his statement of interest in. We received that statement of interest first. So has anyone on the board not had a chance to look at what he wrote to us? You haven't or haven't?
Oh, I have. I looked at it.
Is there anyone who has not? In that case, I'm gonna just go ahead and hand the floor to Carl, and go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll expand on you wrote already, and just go from there.
So my name's Carl Launder, transplant here to Shutesbury, probably 4 years now. I really like the town, love the town actually. Involved in, excuse me, I'm involved in the town with working, caring for the cemetery and mowing and plowing and volunteering. Volunteering for helping out with voting and stuff. So, I want to be a part of the town more than just a resident. I want to contribute to what's the generosity that's been given to me with the town, and just the kindness and caring that it's in the community. So, I'm looking to, get involved, and felt a pull when Nathan had mentioned you guys were looking for some members. So a brief background on me: I have an associate's degree in plant and soil science from UMass Stockbridge. Worked over 20 years in construction, landscape construction, building gas station. Worked my way into property management, maintenance. Currently, I'm a property manager for senior housing. So I've got a wide swath of knowledge and interests and skills. Covered a lot with, planning, looking at blueprints, making sure you have the right dimensions, setbacks, boundaries. So, I just want to be a part, looking to just give back. So, and I thought this would be a place to start. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Well, we appreciate your interest in this, serving on the board and public service in general. I think we'll do the the same thing with Dean. Then we'll, if anyone has any questions they want to ask, they can do that, and then we'll recap with next steps in the process. Okay.
Can I do one thing? Just
Yeah.
for Carl and Dean's benefit, there's 2 associate positions open, so it's not like you're vying against each other. In that sense.
Fine.
That's a good thing I mentioned. Yeah, there are-
We're supposed to make this sound like a coveted position.
Right.
They're not doing a good
Well,
job.
Well, we could always, say no to either of them, but I just wanted to make clear, like, it's not like they're trying to fit into one spot.
A broomstick and say, we're gonna have tryouts.
Right.
No, all right, yeah, it's, two open, associate member seats, yeah. Okay, Dean? Has
Sure.
everyone,
Good evening.
is there anyone who hasn't heard, from Dean and seen his, letter? Okay, good, please.
Good evening. I joined the community in 2019, and I'm employed at Amherst College. I work in student affairs there. My interest in being considered for associate member is for the continuity of the group so that folks can experience life and vacations and have conflicts and not worry about the business of the town. So continuity planning is an important part of what I do at Amherst, and I'd like to bring that here. As far as training and experience are concerned, more specifically, I was an undergraduate in natural sciences at Tufts University, where I earned a degree in geological sciences and environmental studies, and then went on to study policy. I earned a master's degree at Vermont Law School, and that course of study included land use planning. And so comprehensive planning and the business of the planning board is stuff that I sort of nerd out to and appreciate very much. So the opportunity for me to join the board here is to provide a dependable backstop for those of you who are voting members, to know that if you're not able to participate in a meeting, that I will be there and will have a command of the facts of the cases that are on the docket.
Excellent, thank you.
Can I say a word? So Dean and Carl, thank you so much. Things can happen in the town if we don't have a quorum. So associate members are incredibly important. We only had 3 and someone brought something to the planning board. It's uncertain what would happen to that. So having a quorum allows us to at least have a voice in terms of what happens when things are brought to the board. So thank you for stepping up and wanting to help us out. As you know, we're all volunteers here. And so, and the town actually works on volunteers. There must be over 100 volunteers in this town. Otherwise it wouldn't survive in any way. I mean, it wouldn't survive financially, certainly, and a lot would not get done. So thank you for your willingness to step up. I do have a question. Where did you said you're both transplants. Where are you coming from?
Before we get into questions of the
sorry.
board, I was gonna give these folks a chance to ask us questions for just a few minutes. And then, do you guys have any questions about what we're doing? What the role is like, anything like that? Feel like,
No, I honestly don't at this point have any questions.
okay. Dean?
Not right now, thank you.
Oh, all right, well, go ahead.
Where are you transplants from? Where are you coming from? You said you came here, you've been here for like 7 years or so, and 4 years?
I came here from Methuen, Massachusetts, in the Merrimack Valley, where I was in residence for 13 years. And prior to that, I spent 11 years in Somerville. I grew up in Rhode Island, so New Englander through and through.
Great.
I was in Belchertown, finishing raising my kids there with school, and then prior to that, I was in New Hampshire, where I grew up. But when I grew up, most recently New Hampshire, I've moved around quite a bit.
And we're in New Hampshire.
Keene area,
Yeah.
Swansea,
Yeah.
Keene Airport.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else want to ask some questions?
I just had an observation, not a question, but it seems like, if Carl and Dean joined, we'd have 2 different new sets of skills in terms of, sort of the environmental science policy stuff on Dean's end, and sort of the deep construction background, sort of the practical stuff. So I think both of those are good eyes on our process.
Indeed.
I have a question.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you both being here. Thank you. And I second what Michael says. It seems like you both have really a lot to offer for the planning board. I'm wondering, so one thing that comes up often is, and it's something you mentioned, Carl, in your email, like the balance between preserving the unique nature of our town and trying to not fall off a financial cliff, which is happening.
Right.
And so I'm curious if either of you have any thoughts on that. We've had a lot of discussions here about what kind of development could be possible. And of course, like we've had interest from different applicants, no, not applicants. We've just had interest in the past from developers. So just curious if you have thoughts on that, any sort of ideas about income generating possibilities for the town. And I don't know, do you have a magic answer for how to balance that with keeping our unique character? Any consideration about that? Thanks.
Yeah, so I do have some thoughts. Definitely keeping the uniqueness of the town. I do think that 90% of the town's revenue should not be coming from the property owner. So we need to get some, my opinion, we need to get some businesses in town. I'm not talking Dollar General, any gas stations, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. I'm talking more mom and pop brick and mortar shops to keep the uniqueness of the town. I'd be interested in seeing like a little hardware store, so we don't have to go to the big box. Maybe a little bakery. Lawrence has an awesome pie bar. It would be nice to have a pie bar here in town. So we have a lake. My understanding is many years ago there used to be a bait shop. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a bait shop. Do a lot of fishing. There's ice fishing. So those are the kind of some ideas that I have floating around in my mind. Even a little bed and breakfast or a little inn to attract tourism. We have the lake, we have the Quabbin, not too far away. We do have Yankee Candle, we have the Treehouse Brewery, we have Northfield Recreation. So we have a lot to offer in this little town that I think we can expand on, have more balance in our economy here.
I would say from my point of view, the balance, particularly for the planning board's purview, to me is really making sure that property owners are able to exercise their right fairly and entirely. I hope that balance also can mean that as private landowners and the city, rather the town and the state, think about partnerships and think about the watershed that we provide and other natural features that we not only are fortunate to have, but have been active in protecting. That protection and the benefits that protection yields is not just to the residents of Shutesbury within our borders. Those protections and benefits extend regionally. And so the current conversation that I have a lot yet to learn about that's going on with the Quabbin watershed, for example, is an example of maybe not how we're going to generate taxable revenue dollars for the town, but ways in which the town is respected and remunerated appropriately for the benefits that it affords to the Commonwealth, not just to the residents in town. So there's a whole lot of technological and policy development in areas relating to consumption of energy, the production of energy, the storage of energy, the transference of energy from place to place. And I think that Shutesbury, in partnership with its municipal neighbors and with the Commonwealth and possibly regionally in New England, have important discussions to have about what the next 50 years looks like, and the way that we use energy and the way that we get it distributed fairly and in a cost competitive way.
Thank you both. Can I ask if I have a question? Tom, please.
Hi, Carl and Dean, thank you so much. Let's say you are associate members. I imagine it's going to be difficult to decide how we would choose which of you to fill in if there was only a need for one. And I don't savor that moment. Hopefully, if there's a need, it will always be for two, and the two of you can jump in. But I'm just thinking that's going to be an interesting discussion down the line too. When there's a need for an associate to jump in. Okay, which of the two does it? But we'll figure that out when we have to. Thank you so much for doing it. Right, it could be a random mechanism, flipping a coin or something. And it's exciting. I know that that's true. I think 3 of us on the current call were associate members, and I'm sorry if I'm missing somebody who was as well. So that's also, I think, a good attestation to this group. We like working together. We work well together. We work hard together, and we stay. And we grow into the positions more deeply. Just a quick question. Has either of you had a reason ever to look at the Shutesbury zoning bylaws for something going on, a question you had or anything? And did anything ever pop out at you? Just or another Shutesbury regulation or bylaw?
Yeah.
Dean,
that was for Dean as well. Yeah, please. Dean, have you ever had a reason to look at the Shutesbury zoning bylaw? Or?
Yeah, when the AMP proposal came about, I was very interested in understanding where they'd be operating, what the frontages were. In that investigation, learned that property that I own was actually rather next to that project, which I didn't realize at first. I think in looking at the bylaw and looking at our plot maps, I'm also conscious about how we can democratize information and get information to as many interested parties as possible, as easily as possible. And so I know that there's been town discussions recently about the digitization of certain paper files and whatnot. I think that what exists online from the Commonwealth and from Shutesbury is impressive already, but I think that there's more that we can do to empower residents to understand not only what proposals are, but where those proposals exist, and using GIS data in particular to help residents understand in a very simple but honest way what natural resources, what highway department resources, what other municipal interests might be overlain with proposals that come about. Even on tonight's call, for example, the ability to share a screen and to look at the plot map is great, but I can't appreciate Tom approaching the screen and pointing at the screen with his hand or a pointer in the way that I could benefited from were I in the room. So some of these are tech fixes, some of it is practice, but I think that the business of the planning board can seem very opaque and mysterious to members of the public. And to me, that would be a thing that we might think about addressing.
Sometimes it feels opaque and mysterious to me as well.
Dean, the topic that you were just bringing up about the state compensating these small towns for protecting the Quabbin was a huge the topic of a rather large gathering that Michael and I were at the Quabbin recently. I'm not sure if you were aware of that.
I was
But,
aware that it took place, but I wasn't able to participate.
Yeah, so it's a very hot topic, and hopefully, the acreage is certainly compensated differently depending if you're on in Ware or New Salem versus other places in the town, places in the state, where the compensation is like thousands of dollars per acre, and here it's like a few $100s. So there's a large discrepancy that's been going on for a long time. So you certainly hit on something that's very important for everyone in this, all the struggling communities in this area.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it back to Dean and Carl and see if any questions have now popped up. No?
Or have we scared you away?
Yeah, no.
So, a while ago as a board, we decided that we'd have a lag period on this, so rather than voting now as to whether or not we'll go to the select board, we'll talk about this again next time we meet, which will be in August. At that time, I would entertain motions to recommend to the select board to go through the process. The way an associate member is appointed is a joint session with the planning board and select board. So we would make that vote, and I would reach out to the administrative assistant and figure out when we can get on the select board agenda and see if that works with everyone else's schedule, and do the scheduling thing, get us there, and you know. So it's a little bit of a lot to ask of applicants to, come to our next meeting and come to a select board meeting, but that's currently what we're looking at. If you had to be at one, I would say go to the select board in case they have questions they want to ask. Michael, do you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I had a question for you. I mean, given the conversation tonight and the fact that there's potentially 2 more meetings, I would be fine voting to recommend today. So I'm just sort of like curious what the motivation was. Huh?
A motion to suspend the rules.
Well, it's more a question for you. How strongly do you feel?
We don't have to do a formal motion. If there's no one opposed to doing things on this meeting, then I would be happy to entertain motions on moving forward with either of these applicants. So if someone, I'm not hearing any opposition to that. So if someone would like to make a motion to go to the select board with one or both of these candidates, that would be in good order.
Okay. Well, being that I pried the door open, I'll make a motion for each. Carl, what's your last name?
Lounder.
Lounder, right. Okay, so I would move that the planning board recommend Carl Lounder to be an associate member of the planning board.
All right. A second?
I second.
Michael moves and Jeff seconds. That we'll recommend Carl Allender to be appointed as associate member for the planning board. Any further discussion? Yeah, I'll call the roll. Teixeira,
Aye.
Bressler. Aye. Hasty,
Aye.
Schaefer,
Aye.
Pycroft,
Aye.
West,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Aye.
Thank you.
So
I'll
Michael,
move tonight.
we got the last 2 associate member positions available.
Say what?
I said, the last 2 associate member positions available.
That's true. That's true. So I will move that the planning board recommend Dean Gedrin as an associate member for the planning board.
Associate member.
What did he say?
Should I say it
second
again? Okay.
Yeah, we'll call it a mistake. Yeah. All right, the motion is to the planning board to recommend Dean Gendron, associate member to the planning board. And
Correct.
we have you seconded? Yeah, Michael moved, Jeff seconded, and Any discussion?
Two people have said Gendron. Is that the right pronunciation of your last name, Dean?
Was
Gendron.
it? Jen-
Oh, thank you.
Gendron.
I wasn't
Sorry
sure
about
enough.
that.
No worries.
I should know better.
Going forward.
It's the E afterwards.
It's a confusing GE in English, right?
Yeah. Okay, any discussion? No? All right, we'll call the roll. Breston. Aye. Take care.
Aye.
Hasty.
Aye.
Pycroft.
I
Seifert.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
And I'm an aye, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to both of you. We'll be in touch on a date with the select board. It'll probably be a similar thing. The select board tends to meet. Are they still meeting hybrid and town hall? Okay.
Hmm.
So we'll be here or online. Either way is good. Thank you both very much for one, your interest, two, for coming tonight, and three, for your patience as we got things rolling and dealt with another business matter ahead of yours. Things like A&Rs we like to give due attention to is that one of the things alluded to right now, we don't have a quorum. Things could be constructively approved. We can talk about that more later, but that's all the same. My gratitude. Thank you both for coming, and thank you everyone on the planning board for welcoming them and asking some questions. And that's it. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We're going to talk about some we got a few things on, but one of them, I know Carl's gonna like, we're gonna talk about ways that we might change our zoning that could be conducive to potential addition of revenue in town and more business. That might be like not the way that it should be characterized, but it's what do you say, Michael? How would you describe it? Please.
Actually, someone pointed out that we haven't updated our bylaws from 2008, so it's time. So I think it's, looking at our bylaws, given the realities of today and the opportunities and the tensions, to figure out how to make them better, which includes revenue, includes greater protection, includes creative ideas. But really, I think just giving it a fresh look after 18 years.
That's not
More to
say we
come
haven't-
after we do the minutes.
Oh, right, yeah, we have minutes next, but that's not to say we haven't had any amendments, but those were always somewhat targeted. Now, okay, moving on in the agenda. All right, we have review and approve minutes from 6/1/2026.
So moved.
Okay, and we have a second. Okay, Michael moves, Jeff seconds to approve the minutes from June 1st, 2026. Any discussion? No, all right, I'll call the roll. Breslin. Aye. Hasty. Take care.
Aye.
Pycroft.
I have to abstain. I haven't had a chance to look at them.
Okay, Seifert.
Aye.
Okay. Coming back to Hasty. Did we lose Keith Hasty?
And Weston, aye.
Weston, aye, okay. I'll abstain, so we'll say that the motion carries with 4 votes. And Hasty is still on the call, but he's muted. I'm not sure if he's having some kind of difficulty, but we'll mark it as an abstention for the time because we can't hear his vote. All right, minutes have been approved. We're gonna move on. Next agenda item is we're gonna review approach to update zoning districts, economic development. Okay, Micah.
Okay.
You said a bunch of stuff, so I will happily hand the floor to you, give myself a break.
Cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So last meeting when we talked, I sort of proposed the idea of, trying to figure out, how to look at the zoning bylaws to create some balance and build off of some ideas that came out of the 6 months of data center discussions. And one of the particular things that struck me is when I talked to Keith at one point, he said, he described what a traditional New England town meant to him, which is, more density downtown area and then sparser development. And that sort of got me thinking. And so I looked at the zoning bylaws before the last meeting and basically suggested that maybe the board wants to look at things. So knowing that was a tall order, I thought what I would do is try to figure out, if we took this coming year between now and annual town meeting to do what we usually do around bylaws, to sort of say, how do we revisit this? How do we break down discussions and sort of see if we want to change things? And so I went through the zoning bylaws and looked at different sections, which was the first document that I sent, which was the items for possible reflection regarding zoning changes. And so, I looked at the land. We've got a section that defines the land use districts, the 4 districts. We've got a section 2.2, which is the purposes of the land districts, which describes them a little bit more. There's actually an overlay district, which I didn't even know we had, which is the floodplain overlay district. Then we have the use table, which we've talked a bunch about and have amended over the course of time. There's also a mixed use section, and then there's the dimensional tables. And I think and then there's a few other things like exceptions to the dimensional tables, which is height. I know Steve remembers those long conversations about height at Lake Wyola. And then there's definitions. So those are the ones, when I looked at the entire set of bylaws, things that seemed like we could be reviewing and maybe tweaking. There might be others. But what I did is I went from that, and then I looked at each of those sections. So for example, I'm just going to highlight these. I think rather than dive into the substance tonight, having thought about this, my suggestion would be, let's figure out how we want to approach it, and maybe take it in bites. And so I'll go through this as examples, and I'll circle back. So I wrote this other document, the initial ideas for changing zoning documents. And it was mostly, they're ideas that I genuinely think are reasonable to discuss, but it's more example. Yeah.
Mike, do you want me to share one of your documents so that,
Sure. Yeah. You can do the thoughts on possible. Thank you, Nathan. That's brilliant. Yeah. I'm staring at it. I just,
yeah, no,
it makes sense for you guys to do that too.
Well, Michael, if I understand what you're looking for tonight is for us to establish a process of how we go about exploring these changes.
Yeah, I think the first question is, do we want to start exploring? And generally speaking, and then, yeah, exactly, come up with the process, because it's way too much to do without understanding how we're going forward. But yeah, Steve, I think you're correct. So now that it's up there, you can see, so looking at purpose, the purpose is the purpose for the different areas. And so the purpose for just for town center, it actually says in there to maintain the existing settlement pattern. So an example would be looking at the purposes of each of the districts and figure out what's the purpose. So one could say that, we want to allow centrally located residential, civic, commercial uses and mixed use, but not necessarily maintaining the same settlement pattern, because the settlement pattern is more sparse than we might want if we wanted to, have, say some small businesses like Carl was mentioning. On the other side, what I found really interesting is that forest conservation is named forest conservation, but in terms of what its purpose is, which is far down. Yeah, I won't go there yet. I'll just stay on town center for a second, so it'll make it easier. So I looked at the purpose of town center. I then looked at the boundaries of town center to figure out, okay, where is town center? We talk about it all the time, but I didn't know where it started and stopped. And so when I looked at it, it seemed like we could actually move the boundaries a little bit. So do we want to be more inclusive and make it a bigger town center or smaller? More, so I think that's something we could look at, what the boundaries of each district are. Not all the districts have definitions. So we should define the definitions. We have 2 of them that are defined and 2 that are not defined. So that seems like, for consistency's sake and clarity's sake, you would define what that's, besides the purpose, what it's defined as. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can talk about in use tables. So what uses are allowed in a particular district, what's by right, what's by special permit, what's by site plan review, definitely tweaking. And you can see in here, just in town center, there's, we have the categories of residential uses, community uses, business uses, energy and utility uses, and industrial uses. So there's a lot to rejigger there and say, oh, okay, if we're thinking about the town center district, what would we want to encourage? What would we want to disincentivize? So that's the conversation. And then same thing with dimensions. So just as an example, I looked at what our bylaws are. I also looked at the GIS in terms of what the parcel sizes actually are, because we have a lot of non-conforming parcels from before we did the bylaws. And so we can look at what the minimum lot size is for Lake Wyola town center. We don't have to change things necessarily, but we should at least look at them. Same thing with setbacks. And, height is probably only an issue in Lake Wyola, but these are all the dimensions. So the lot area, the setbacks, front, side, rear, maximum floor for non-residential, and the maximum height. And so what I did in this document, if, I'm assuming some of you might have read it and some of them you might have skimmed it, but some might not have read it at all. But what I did is I basically took all 4 districts and looked at those components. Now, there might be other things that cut across the entire town. One thing that Tom pointed out to me at one point was, I'm going to forget the word, but reconstruction, is that it, Tom?
That's the word.
Yeah. So reconstruction would be for across districts, no matter where in town. So that's, like having a definition of what that is, because apparently it's been confusing to people over the course of time. And then the other last thing I would just throw out, which is possible, it's at the very end of the document that Nathan's got on the screen, but in thinking about, okay, where would we want to sort of encourage development? We've talked about where can we get housing, et cetera. What struck me, and again, this is like a big conversation to have, but do we want to create a different district? And the one that jumps out to me is actually in Jeff's neck of the woods, which, is like the Atkins Reservoir. So sort of up January Hills a little bit over. It's close to Amherst. It's around the reservoir. It's actually, it's more dense than some other places already, but it's also got a natural resource that we want to protect. But it's raising it more as an example that just because we have 4 now doesn't mean we have to have 4 going forward. And lastly, I would just say, like, something that was interesting to me, I think in my thinking, it seems like we would probably keep it, but rural residential. When I think about districts, I tend to think about them more geographically. Like Wyola is a geographic location. Town center is a geographic location. Rural residential is basically a zone defined from the distance of the center of the road across town. So that's the definition. So it's everywhere in town for houses that are not in town center, not like Wyola, that are a certain setback from the middle of the road. So I think it's probably fine, but it's worth saying, does this work? And I think the only one who was here when the bylaws were redone was Steve. So, he might have better sense of the history and all, but that's hopefully just in using that example, it seems like there's different ways to parse it, where I guess what I would say is we could look by district. So you could say for Lake Wyola, let's look at the purpose. Let's look at the use table. Let's look at the dimensions, look at the boundaries of the definition. Or we could do it the other way and slice it where we say, let's look at the purpose of all the districts and make sure that the purposes are good. Let's look at the dimensions for each of them and see how they relate to each other. So there's sort of, I think, two fundamental ways we could do it. And I'm sure if either way we'll have, we'll sort of bleed into the other because it's going to take time. But that's my basic thinking. If that's, I can leave it there.
Thank you, Michael. Now, I'm sure people have lots of questions, but we're getting on in time and there's other items on the agenda that we do need to cover. And
Yep.
I do want to stop at 9 o'clock tonight. I'm sorry. Yeah, what do I say?
So for purposes of this discussion, because what Michael's asking is pretty straightforward. I do think, Michael, what you've laid out here, and I have read through it. I do think tackling it district by district, and when we do tackle one district, it allows us, if you know, focus more on that district. But we may come up as we're focusing on each district with additional thoughts that cut across this, and we just keep a running tab. I'm gonna move forward even further in the future. When we do make these changes, okay, or as we make these changes, I'm gonna strongly encourage us not to try to do all of our changes all at once at a town meeting or public hearing. Let's tackle it and let's really tackle putting new bylaws or bylaw adjustments before the public in. Let's parse it out the way we're focusing on it, because I do remember when we did major rezoning in 2008, it took 2 years. Okay. Even after the 2 years, and we had these public education sessions where we'd ask people to come with their property to show them how these new rules could apply to their property. And after 2 years, I'm still thinking about 25% of people at most understood those new zoning bylaws. So it's a long way of saying, let's tackle it in sections, and then let's try to move forward into town meeting with those sections and not do a wholesale. I think it helps the public focus more on something that's really, more focused than trying to assimilate a lot of different information, which we will eventually do. You follow me?
I do, and I appreciate the perspective. I think the only thing I would push back on, maybe, just to see, is maybe the guiding light. What I take away from what you're saying is we can't ask people to digest so much detail that it's impossible for them. So
Correct.
How we pursue, whatever the timeline is, and however we end up, whatever we put forth, it has to be understandable to people so they know what they're voting on. They're not feeling overwhelmed. I'm sort of scared of saying we're going to take 4 years to do it, but maybe there's a way of saying, like, whatever we put forth, people should understand what it is and come up with a strategy where it makes sense. Because I mean, the only thing that concerns me, which I don't have an answer to, is like, they're all so connected. So like, this is another conversation, and I want to respect Nathan's point.
Yeah, no, I
point,
think
but
we
if
gotta,
yeah,
I would like to,
So
so what I would like to do
Yeah.
is, I want everyone, to just, you've heard what Michael said, and, I don't know, we're gonna keep this on the agenda, and we're gonna talk about it more. So, I think it might be helpful if you have thoughts, if you want to write them down and submit them to me or Michael, and we can distribute that. So that's like, obviously we don't want to run into open meeting law issues, but having people be able to kind of share their thoughts and kind of keep track of it is going to be helpful. So, in the interim, you can, keep Michael and I in the loop, and we'll talk about it more. But I really do want to, it's 8:35 and I want to end by 9. And we've got to talk about state regs. So I hate to cut anyone off, Steve.
Fine.
State regs will be short, just so you know.
Are they gonna be short? Oh,
Yeah.
well, they're all the same. I think, I've already put the cork in it, so I don't want to open the bottle again. So, we're gonna, yeah. I encourage people too to just, look at this, think about it, and bring any ideas you have. This is an interesting topic of discussion, and I have a feeling we'll be talking about it for a little while. All right, next we have state clean energy regulation updates, including local government representative and updates to solar and battery bylaws and fees. And again, this is an update from Michael, so let's
Okay, so the first one is the follow-up to the email I sent you all about the local government representative. But just quickly for Carl and Dean's benefit, in November 2024, the state passed a clean energy law that was about solar, wind, and battery storage regulation. And basically, they were trying to change how it was done, figuring that things were going too slowly, so they divided it up. And the last year, the DOER, Department of Energy Resources, been working on regulations because "quote unquote" small projects, which are wind and solar up to 25 megawatts and battery storage up to 100 megawatts, are still going to be regulated by municipalities. So those regulations went into effect on July 1st. So they are currently in play. The mechanism for that is that the state basically is treating a municipality as a whole. So up until now, the planning board would do its permitting, Concom would do its permitting. If there was a ZBA or another board, it would do its permitting. We all had our separate tracks. Now we retain our regulatory powers, but a municipality has 1 year to make a decision as a unit. And so that's the new paradigm, that the state's treating the municipality as a unit. So they came up with this new idea of a local government representative, which would be the point of contact who would help facilitate both administrative and substantive process for each municipality. Via consolidated permits. So what I wrote you is that the local government representative in the regs was going to be the select board by default. And if the select board didn't want to do it, they could designate someone. And so what we've talked about previously is the town didn't necessarily have the wherewithal to pay for someone. Like you don't know when an application's coming. And then when you have one, who's going to do it? I mean, it's more than Mateo currently does now as land use clerk, because there is administrative, but there's substantive stuff. So I've been working with Joe Comerford's office for the last 2 months at least. And last week there was an energy affordability bill that the Senate passed. Sorry about that. The screen just went black. And basically the local government representative can now be a 53G consultant by the Senate bill. So just like we are able to charge the applicant for consulting services for, say, stormwater, or the Concom can do for delineation, we can do that for local government representatives. So that passed on the Senate side. It's going to go to a conference committee because the House did not have it. I'm hoping the conference committee will probably get their work done in August or September. So right now it's up in the air. It would still be the select board if things stayed the same, but the momentum is good. And DOER is actually supportive of this. So I'm hopeful that it'll happen. What's nice for Shutesbury is that our local process on consolidated permits won't happen until October 1st. So we have between now and October 1st before we would ever get an application and have to do it in the new process, and therefore use a local government representative. So this is mostly an update to say the Senate passed it, the House has to agree to it. And then if we get an application, we can have the town charge an applicant. So Does that make sense? It was not as clear as I otherwise would have wanted it to be, but
The House hasn't, yet- it hasn't become law yet. You said the Senate passed it, the House has to agree. with it?
yeah. So the way the legislation works in the state is the House votes on something and the Senate votes on something. If they're identical, then it's approved and it goes to the governor. The House, this is not included in the House version of the bill. It is included in the Senate version. So what they do many times is they create a conference committee, which is 3 House members and 3 Senate members. They get in a room and they fight it out. The reason I'm somewhat optimistic is that you'll like this, Nathan. The House bill includes the governor's provision that there doesn't have to be a ballot initiative to allow nuclear again. The Senate doesn't. So that's going to be where the fireworks is. No one's going to care about the local government representative. This is like a little thing for municipalities. And the reality is every legislator is representing municipalities, and no municipality in the entire state can afford a local government representative because no one has this new capacity. So I think it's going to happen. So it's in queue, and the fact that it passed the Senate, it's good. So that's really the update, and I'll just keep you posted. That I reached out to Aaron Sanders, who's our rep at the Quabbin meeting last week, and asked him to make sure that he's supportive on the House side. So we'll see. Sound good? Any questions on that? And then the other stuff is actually relatively quick. In the law that passed in November 24, DOER was tasked with creating model bylaws for both solar and battery installations. It's been in the works for almost a year at this point. We saw a draft, I think it was in March. I had a phone call with the director of that division that was doing it probably at least 6 weeks ago. And they said, oh, it's at the lawyers, but it's been a really hard time. So they were hoping to have it by July 1st, because that's when the law went into effect, and it's not in effect yet. So there's no model bylaws. It's as murky as can be. I've been waiting to see them because the question would be, does Shutesbury need to change our solar bylaws in any way to align them with the state's model or not? You know, when I've gone to public sessions DOER has presented at, they've said assuringly to all the municipalities in the room, even when the regulations go into effect, you will not have to change your bylaws. So what I don't understand is why we would not have to change our bylaws, and they're creating model bylaws. It's a little mixed message the way I see it. So I haven't seen anything yet. When it hits the streets, I'll send it out to you all, and we can look at it, and then we can discuss if we have to change anything, because it'll become real. But they're overdue by months at this point. So more to come when we actually see something. Does that make sense?
Michael, I have a question.
Yeah.
So the model bylaws are particularly for municipalities that don't have any bylaws related to solar, right? Or is that not clear?
It's not clear. Yeah, it's unclear. And the thing that's even weirder about it is there's 2 things just to get a sense. So the last time DOER did model bylaws for solar was in 2014. And they basically encouraged no development in forested areas and no development on agriculture. Now, needless to say, that hasn't been the case, right? And so the question is, do the model bylaws that DOER as an agency puts out, are they legally binding? Clearly they're not, because all the development, and, you know, we cited way back when the DOER bylaws, and, you know, they're basically recommendations by the administration. They're not legal. There is a case that's pending out of Petersam. It's called Sun Pin versus Petersam. And there's a planning board member who basically, they rejected a solar facility, and they cited the 2014 DOER bylaw as saying, you guys said this and we're going with it, and therefore we're rejecting the solar. And so it's at the SJC. So the SJC will decide, do model bylaws by DOER carry legal weight or not?
Does
Fascinating.
does Peter Sam
you
have their own bylaws for solar?
Yeah,
Do you know?
yeah.
They do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Michael,
Yeah,
you will
it's
keep us,
interesting.
posted on the status of that, decision.
Totally. I think everyone's waiting for it, including DOER.
Blast it right out when it comes.
Yeah, I will. So,
No,
so that's that. It's,
Um,
there's a lot
Michael,
riding on all of this stuff.
you know, correct me or supplement what I say here if you think so, but I think to go back to Ashley's question about, the bylaw and whether our town has one or not on solar. I mean, I think the crux of it is the model bylaw is intended, especially at this point, since the state has kind of gone through this whole process up to here with the various decisions and, reworking the smart roads and the, feedback from municipalities and other stakeholders, right? It's to provide, what the DOER sees as reasonable regulation, right? So.
Not necessarily. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So like the director of the siting and permitting division, when he was presenting a couple of months ago about this stuff, what he said is, we're going to put out what we think is, something that could be a model, but municipalities can have stricter characteristics than what we're saying. So it's sort of like, is it a model that we should sort of shoot for? Or if we locally have some differing ideas or needs, so like setbacks are a perfect one. There in the draft, the setbacks was 25 feet for a solar installation. I think ours is 500, so like it sort of matters. Like, do we have to do 25 feet? They explicitly said no. So between 25 and 500, what's the truth? Like it's trying to understand what they're saying and what we have to do and then revisiting it. So clear as mud.
All right. I thought that would be a reasonable kind of meaning for it, but apparently not. But thank you for clarifying that. And, I had one other question, Michael. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, the model bylaw you speak of from over a decade ago.
March. Oh, 2014. Yeah.
Did that predate SMART?
It predated SMART. It didn't necessarily predate, because SMART was the third iteration. So there was the SREC program, SREC 1, SREC 2, and then SMART. So I'm not sure when the SREC started, but it was probably similar. I think SREC started in 2010, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, like, with SMART, I feel, I don't know a lot about SMART, so I guess I'll just leave it at that. And
I have to be short because we've got 10 minutes left. I'll tell you the only thing about the fees is just this might be moot, but if the local government representative does not pass and it ends up that we can't charge the applicant for consultant fees, what other municipalities have been talking about is jacking up the solar fees so you can pay a consultant to do the work of the local government representative, like significantly, because a consultant would cost thousands of dollars. So it's something in our back pocket if we need to do it. So it's mostly just to sort of say, if the LGR doesn't happen, we probably should be revisiting it, because otherwise we're going to be on the hook for money we don't have.
And we can update fees with the
Administratively.
Administratively.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's simple.
Yeah. So that's my update.
Okay. Thank you, Michael, for keeping us on this. Okay. Now, member updates. Does anyone have any updates they want to do?
I do. So Wheelock, I made a calendar. I think there was like 4, maybe 3 possible days where most of us could go. And they did get back to me. I'm just going into my email. I believe we have a date of August 13th. Hang on. Yeah, 8:13, which I think for you, Michael, had to be in the morning. And he sent me, it's Marcos Quintana. He sent me an invoice that, or sorry, an invite that I cannot open, but I believe it's 10 to 11:30. And he said he's still waiting. He is, quote, still circulating internally for approvals for external personnel to enter the site, but let's plan for an 8:13 site visit. So that's what's happening. He did email me back initially and hang on, wanted to know why. He said, what would be the agenda and objectives of this site visit? And I just responded and said, you know, we're the regulatory board that oversees it, and it's part of our duties to go visit. And I could talk to the board and see if we could come up with a list. So that's where that's at.
It's in the decision that for site visits, right?
I'm sorry?
It's in the decision mentioned site visits.
Conditions. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the site visit, the purpose of the site visit, is to make sure that solar company is complying with this. Or if anything new comes up. New
Mhm.
issues come up.
I don't think, I mean, he hasn't asked about it again. I answered that and he didn't mention it. I just, in the answer that I gave him, I also said I could ask the board if there was anything particular. And I know, of course, like the, you know, the battery storage and establishing a perimeter around it for fire suppression, and the herbicides, I think we wanted to discuss. Those are a couple of things that I wrote down from the last meeting. Vegetation percentage of ground cover, stormwater infrastructure. Can we bring a plant ecologist? I'm just looking at my notes from the last meeting. I can give him that list. Why do we want a plant ecologist? Does anyone remember?
Without
I think
I don't remember.
I think it might have been Keith.
Okay.
Might have been Keith's point.
I wrote also /stipend ? So I,
What was that last
sorry.
thing?
Plant ecologist /stipend ?
Stipend?
Stipend for the plant ecologist, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Sorry,
So-
I know you can't determine my cryptic notes either. I don't know.
But my main concern was that there are two large batteries. One that's a little bit higher in elevation has burnable material that goes right into the center part, that center forest. So that's my main concern, that if there was a fire in the higher battery storage area, it would lead right into the section of forest that's right in the middle of the solar panels. That would be disastrous in terms of spreading, in terms of a fire spreading. So
Okay.
that's my main concern.
Actually, if you wanted to, you could basically just give them a copy of the decision and point out the condition affording site visits. Say that's the agenda. Or, you know, or basically say, you know, we're exercising our right under the conditions to visit the site and evaluate its compliance with the conditions. Let's send the decision. Something to that.
Yeah.
effect.
I mean,
now-
I basically already said that, and he hasn't said anything else. So
Yeah,
if you
okay.
want me to cite a decision, I can, or I could just, you know, say, yeah, we'll be there and we'll wait to hear from you. And
If the
if it comes up again,
Yeah. Then we might also, I don't know if you indicated the plant ecologist potential for them.
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't indicated any of this to them.
Yeah, so that's
I think
I don't know if we need one. I don't know if we, for me, I don't need one. I just need to make sure that the fire
Yeah.
can't quickly to that center forest.
I think what Keith was getting at with the ecologist is, one, the plant cover, well, first and foremost is the conditions regarding the pollinator meadow, right? I think, mostly that's gone by the wayside. It hasn't been a success.
right.
But the other thing with vegetative growth around the area is is a mitigation for erosion, and the role of the plant ecologist could be to assess risk for that kind of erosion from rains and whatnot based on the vegetation that's there. So that, I don't, I'm not advocating one way or another. The other question I would have is, what's in the conditions, would that extent us bringing like guests or, ecology? I know in the past, we've also invited the Conservation Commission along and they've allowed us to do that. But that's just something to keep in mind. Do you have anything else with this, Ashley? Any further questions before we move on?
I don't think so. I will respond to him and say, yes, the 13th is a go. I mean, based on what you all gave me, it seems like that date works. And when I find it, just look out for an email from me, as far as when it's going to actually happen.
Michael, are you trying to speak?
I think your point about the Concom is really good. I forgot about that. So the last two site visits, the Concom has come. So it seems like if we have once we get a confirmed date, it might be good, Nathan, if you wanted to, or Ashley, to reach out to the Concom. I think Ashley, we should just let them know that Concom members might be coming. They haven't objected to the prior, but I think it would be reasonable, since the Concom has regulatory issues with that as well, just to invite them. Someone might show up.
Right.
We had good turnout in the last one.
Okay.
I have another possible concern for fire hazards. I don't know if there is one, but there are certainly significant small trees and shrubs that are growing right through the solar panels and maybe into the electrical wires of those solar panels. So I'm not sure if that's a fire concern of a tree coming up and doing something to the wiring underneath the panels that might cause a short circuit of some kind in a fire. So that's just a concern of mine.
So I think I maybe would just be very general in the email, and then we can talk about how, will we meet before that, before the 13th?
Yeah, we'll meet on the 10th is our next meeting, right?
Maybe at that meeting, we could formalize a list of things that we want to talk about. I could say to him, fires, concerns around fire are one of the things that we're going to be.
So let's wrap this up. We'll discuss it at the next meeting. We can put
Sounds
together
good.
an agenda. I'm also just going to make a quick reminder when you go on a site visit, talk about things. So it's good that we're meeting right before that. It gives us a chance to kind of put the questions together or whatnot.
Maybe invite the fire marshal as well.
You could do that, yeah.
I can certainly add that to the email.
Can we send out, once we have the date, can we send out an invitation to the fire marshal of Shutesbury?
I think it sounds like we have a date. He sent me an invitation. It just is weird, but I can confirm with him, and I will start a new email to all of you. I guess I could do it to you, to the Concom, to the fire marshal.
Yeah,
sure.
Do you think I should tell Marcos first? Like, hey, you might have a crowd.
Yeah, I think you should just let him. I would say let him know that the Concom will come as they have in the past. And leave it at that. And it might be worth seeing if Lenny wants to come. I don't think he's necessarily the fire chief.
Yeah, I imagine he could just go there if he wanted to, right? Anytime, could he or no?
I don't know. It's private property, so I think you have to get permission.
Yeah.
Well, you can figure all that out, but it's.
I know you're trying to wrap up.
Yeah, no, you can set it out, let them know what we're doing, and just communicate about things that need to be communicated about. And then don't violate the meeting law, of course, but none of this should, because it's a scheduling for a site visit.
Okay.
If you have any questions, like reach out to Michael or if any questions come up, Ashley. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to give a quick update, if I can recall where it was. Yeah, all right, quick update from me is I have not forgotten that we need to approve minutes from our executive sessions. And they'll probably be on the agenda in August. But I just thought that this meeting was gonna be full enough, and sure enough, it's 9 o'clock and we're wrapping up. So hopefully, in August, we can, we'll get to that. And that's it. Anyone else?
Next meeting would be August 10th, is that correct?
I've got August 10th. So,
Okay.
Move to adjourn?
Yeah, we have no unanticipated business stuff, so motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll make that motion.
So-
we have a-
Second.
I do want to point out that Michael is starting to look like that old movie with Deep Throat. You remember All the President's Men?
All the President's Men. Good.
It's going dark, Michael. It's like you're a spy now.
Totally.
Michael,
That's.
Are you a covert
I'm in
operative?
Canada.
You're
I'm in Canada.
Oh,
Yeah.
explains everything. National espionage.
Are you in like a warehouse?
No, I'm in a campground.
Ah,
I'm in a
okay.
campground.
Okay, you escaped?
He lets you into the out of the country?
I will
Um,
not be beaming in from any camping trips ever, just FYI, as a testament to Michael.
Michael is dedicated at another level. No, seriously though, that is it's appreciated. Thank you, Michael, for funding it today. Even though
Sure.
you didn't volunteer to be chair, so I can't thank you that much, but the vice chair is good enough for me. I'll take it.
Okay.
Now, we've got a motion on the table to adjourn. Let's have a roll call.
We didn't get a second.
We
A
did
second.
it,
Yeah, I second. I did.
Michael seconded it. He's got the
But
second.
he's not even here. He's not-
He's in another country. Yeah. So Bressler moves. Here are seconds to adjourn. All right, Bressler,
Aye.
take care.
Aye.
Tasty. I'm
I think
staying.
it's done.
He might be gone entirely.
He's a jerk.
Pycroft,
Aye.
Seaford,
Aye.
Weston,
Sorry.
I'm an aye. All right, the planning board is adjourned. Thank you all for coming and have a wonderful evening.
Ashley, happy summer vacation. Congratulations, you made it.
Thank you. I'm
See you
doing
guys.
a 200-hour teacher training right now
Oh.
for yoga. So I've been on a screen
Okay.
like 8 hours today, but it's
Oh,
almost
okay.
over. See you all.
Okay.